Have you ever felt like the more you try to stay calm, the quicker you lose your temper? Have you ever found yourself saying, "I shouldn't feel this way," only to feel it even more intensely? Why is it that the harder we try to control our emotions, the more they seem to control us? Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the deep truths of inner transformation beyond surface fixes. Today, we're exploring one of the most misunderstood concepts in emotional and spiritual development, how real equanimity is not control but release, and how a heart without attachment is the source of the deepest peace you can know. Let's start with something many people get wrong. Controlling emotion is not the same as understanding emotion. In fact, most people don't even know the difference. They think keeping a straight face, suppressing tears, or biting their tongue is a sign of maturity. But inside, the storm rages. Anxiety builds, resentment festers, and sooner or later it all bursts out, sometimes in ways we regret the most. That's because suppression is not healing. It's just emotional procrastination. Consider a man named David. He prided himself on being in control. He never raised his voice. Always composed, always proper. But he suffered from chronic tension, migraines, and sudden episodes of emotional numbness. One day, during a mindfulness retreat, she was asked to sit with his feelings, not analyze them, not fix them, just sit. Within minutes, tears began to fall. Years of grief, loss, unspoken disappointments, everything he had packed away, rose to the surface. That night, for the first time in decades, he slept deeply. Not because he had solved his emotions, but because he had allowed them. This is the secret. Emotions are not enemies to be conquered, they are messengers to be listened to. The Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. And what is emotional control, if not a form of clinging? We cling to ideals, I must always be calm. We cling to images, I can't be weak. We cling to stories, I shouldn't feel this, but every time we cling, we tighten. And tightness is the opposite of freedom. Now imagine a heart without attachment, not cold, not indifferent but spacious. A heart that allows joy without addiction, sorrow without collapse, anger without hatred, fear without paralysis. That is what the ancients called coolness, not apathy, but clarity. A mind like clear water, a heart like open sky. Let's explore this further through the experience of Alina, a therapist and longtime practitioner. She noticed that even with all her training, certain situations, especially with her parents, would trigger deep reactions. One day, she realized something profound. She wasn't reacting to the present moment, but to unprocessed pain from childhood. Every time she tried to stay professional, she cut off the voice of her inner child. Through guided meditation, she began a new practice. Instead of trying to silence the child within, she began listening. She wrote letters to herself. She let herself cry without judgment, and slowly, those emotional patterns began to soften, not because she forced them, but because she befriended them. This is the essence of a heart without self, not the absence of feeling, but the absence of identification. You feel anger, but you are not anger. You feel sadness, but you are not sadness. Emotions become passing weather, not your permanent climate. Let's talk about techniques not to suppress emotion, but to transform your relationship with it. First, aim the emotion. Not "I am angry," but "anger is rising." This subtle shift creates space. You are no longer fused with it. You are the sky, not the storm. Second, breathe into the emotion. Emotions live in the body. Where is the tension? Is it in your chest, your throat, to your belly? Place your breath there. Not to push it away, but to hold it. Third, listen. What is this emotion trying to say? Is there a need beneath the anger, a fear beneath the pride, a wound beneath the blame? Often, Emotions carry truths we've ignored for too long. Fourth, respond. Don't react. After allowing the emotion, ask, what would love do now? This doesn't mean weakness, it means alignment. You act not from the chaos but from clarity. Fifth, release. Let go of the need to resolve everything. Some emotions don't need solutions, they need space. Trust that your system knows how to process if you stop interrupting. Now let's dive into the deeper teaching. The cool heart is not the frozen heart. It is the heart that remains open even when the world burns. Think of the lotus in muddy water. It doesn't deny the mud, it rises through it. Likewise, equanimity is not ignoring pain. It's seeing through pain to the truth of impermanence. This understanding leads us to compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. When we judge ourselves for feeling, we split. We become our own enemy. But when we accept, we integrate. And wholeness is where healing begins. So what does a day look like for someone walking with a cool heart? You wake with awareness, noticing your breath before touching your phone. You move through your tasks with presence, noticing when tension rises and pausing instead of pushing. When challenged, you allow the surge of emotion, but respond with wisdom. You offer kindness not because you must, but because you are full. You listen to others not to fix, but to feel with. And when sorrow visits, you sit with it like an old friend. You no longer ask it to leave. You ask it what it came to teach. This is the new strength, not hardening, but opening. Not domination, but grace. And let's be clear, this is not easy. It takes courage to feel, to drop your guard, to stop performing. But it's the only way to truly live. The world doesn't need more controlled people. It needs more real ones. People who feel deeply and still choose kindness, who tremble and still speak truth, who fall and still rise with soft eyes. That's what it means to be cool, not cold, but conscious. And when you embody this, you become medicine. Your presence soothes others, not because you preach, but because you radiate ease. You become a refuge, not by fixing pain, but by not fearing it. You become light, not by shining always, but by embracing your shadow too. So if you've been trying to control your emotions, take this moment to stop, to breathe, to feel. You are not broken, you are becoming. Thank you for watching this video. If today's message touched you, share your experience in the comments. What emotion have you been trying to control, and what would it feel like to welcome it instead? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again as we explore the truths that set us free, not by denying life, but by embracing it fully. See you soon.